Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM, AM 630. WMAL.
8:07 on the Morning Majority. Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, the two Brians are here, and also Mary Catherine Ham. We're pleased to be joined at this moment in time by Shannon Bream of your Fox News Channel, the anchor of the ever-popular America's News headquarters, a show with an impeccable pedigree. How are you, Shannon?
I'm very good. I wonder how the show got so popular.
I don't know. We won't go there. I'm just having a little fun with you. Hey, listen, you were at the State Department yesterday, I understand, when word started to circulate about Muammar Gadhafi. Mm-hmm. Tell me about what was going on there and what the reaction of the Secretary of State was.
Well, for a long time, even though it seemed like there was overwhelming evidence, video and otherwise, that he was probably dead, for most of the day, they held us off from that, and Secretary Clinton didn't want to comment on that either, and they did abruptly cancel the briefing we had at one point. Of course, now we know, waiting for the President and for the White House to take the lead on this story. She said it's a huge win for the Libyan people, but cautioned, of course, that it's just the beginning. They have so many concerns about what comes next. With the NATO mission, what the Libyan people have to do, and foremost among that is getting these different militias that have been essentially fighting autonomously all over the country unified in some way in their interests and their efforts. And they've all been doing the one thing they wanted to do was get rid of Gadhafi, but with that now settled, trying to unify them is going to be the next big challenge.
So do you anticipate that the State Department will be actively involved in nation building now over there?
Well, we asked the folks over there. An official told me that they want to be ready and standing by to help the Libyan people in whatever way they choose, but the language they were using was very much aimed at making it sound like this is all about the Libyan people, this is about their decisions. Of course, we're part of NATO. Whatever NATO does next will have to be a consensus decision. But the language was very much aimed at saying it's their victory, it's their struggle, it's their rebuilding. We're there to help if they need us. But we're not going to get too involved.
Did you get a sense at the State Department and maybe within the administration in general that there was some vindication to going into Libya, since they were criticized heavily by Republicans and by Democrats, although they had some support from Republicans as well? Well,
it's funny, the way that one of the reporters over there put it yesterday was, does this vindicate your leading from behind strategy? And the official immediately responded, well, we never called it that, and we don't consider it leading from behind. So it was clear they did not want that characterization to be put onto this mission. But again, they would immediately turn it around and say, we were just there to assist the Libyan people. They did this. This is their victory, and very much playing down the notion that this was some kind of U.S. victory.
Some people are noting on the Internet that it's somewhat incongruous that we have all these graphic videos, photos, everything of Gadhafi in the instant of death, and yet we are not allowed to see pictures of Osama bin Laden.
It is an interesting juxtaposition, because I think the argument that people are making for these photos could also probably be the same argument that you make for the bin Laden photos, that these people have been, so in fear, those who oppose this particular leader, that they need to see him to know that he's dead. And also the fact that there were people there with cell phones, and that's a different situation. We've got people who their video goes viral on YouTube or other social media networking sites, and maybe part of the argument is it's out there, we can't stop it. The people themselves put it out there. Obviously, the bin Laden mission was much more tightly controlled.
Well, they seem to suggest that we maybe couldn't handle the photos. Perhaps they'll change their mind now that we've handled the Gadhafi photos.
I can't handle the Gadhafi photos. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah, it was
a little bit graphic for me.
Well, now the UN is calling for an investigation into the death as well. I don't know if the State Department has had a comment on that or not, but
we pushed them about what did you know about the circumstances? What have you been told? What story are you telling? Because there were so many different stories yesterday. One of the official reports, of course, was that he got caught in some crossfire. He was alive until he got to the to the hospital. And people immediately firing back saying, have you seen the video? Have you seen his limp body? He was hit in the head at least one time, maybe multiple times, maybe at close range. And folks wanting to know a lot more about the story. The State Department official just kept saying to us, we don't know about the circumstances. We haven't been told about the circumstances. We can't comment on the circumstances. So maybe at that point they hadn't been given any more of an official story, but they certainly weren't sharing anything with us.
All right, let's turn to politics for a moment. I want to ask you about the ascendancy in many of the polls of one Herman Cain. There's a poll out I saw yesterday, a Rasmussen poll, which says that Cain now leads Romney in Iowa. He's at the top of the heap by about 7 points. And by the way, Rick Perry, hardly a factor according to this poll. He has fallen to only 7% support in the state of Iowa. What do you make of all that?
Well, I think a lot of people may be surprised when we actually get to those Iowa caucuses, because you guys know there's such a specialized system of the way these happen and the way that they play out. And there are a lot of folks who are, longtime political insiders, muckety-mucks. They've run campaigns, and they say, Herman Cain doesn't have an Iowa operation, really. People may poll over all that they like his message, that they like his just how plain-spoken he is. He's entertaining. He's one of the warmest people you'll ever meet in politics. But if he doesn't have that framework in place for getting those people out to the caucuses, to having those discussions, to fighting on his behalf, it's such an odd system that there are great worries within those who support Herman Cain that without the real infrastructure he needs in Iowa, those poll results may turn out to be misleading.
How's it going for Democrats making the argument that Republicans are obstructionist on these bite-sized jobs bills that we're getting? Now, there are a handful of Democrats voting against them. Are they winning this message fight?
Well, yeah, that's a tough one because, as soon as they voted down this measure in the Senate last night, deciding to break up the big jobs bill and do it in these bite-sized pieces, the press release of the statement from the White House is always, every single Republican voted against this. Every single Republican hates you and doesn't want you to have a job, essentially, is the bottom line. But it is important to note that there are a couple of Democrats who have broken and gone across the aisle. I think that the reason maybe that they are breaking these up is so they can take repeated votes, that Republicans have to repeatedly go on the record voting against items. The Democrats are, selling as this is going to make you be able to put food on the table and have a job. So you got to wonder if long-term it's going to pay off and make the Republicans look like they're sort of heartless.
All right, so what's your big guest on America's News Headquarters this weekend?
We're still firming that up. We have all kinds of interesting pundits, and we've got, some military folks. The one person I'm really looking forward to talking to is Pete Hoekstra, former congressman, because he has actually met with Gadhafi several times. And I'm very interested to get his take on what he thought of the leader, whether he was a madman as people thought, whether he was crazy like a fox, and get his reaction. I think it'll be interesting to get his take.
Okay, if you can't get him, well, I suggest getting Tattooed Barbie on the program.
We're really big on that story. I'd like
a lot of people want to talk about that
this morning. If Tattooed Barbie is available, give us a call, Tattooed Barbie at America's News.
Very nice.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Shannon Bream, good to have you.